Here again with another Breaking Bad Season 4 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you are caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find out you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for all of you that are wondering, I've seen Breaking Bad at least 8 times. This could be my 10th time watching this show. So join me and the man, the myth, the legend, the Lucifer fanatic, the Dexter fanatic, and the Breaking Bad fan himself, Crazy Coffee Man, down in the comment section to discuss this awesome and amazing show. With that in mind, this will be Breaking Bad Season 4, Episode 4. The title of this episode is called Bullet Points. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. So we start off with Mike in one of the Los Porros Hermanos refrigerated trucks, and someone is going after the truck, and Mike gets in position, and then this someone or these people start shooting inside the truck from the outside. 2 men enter, and Mike takes them both out. So, luckily Mike didn't get hurt, although his ear was slightly injured during the shootout, but that tough old bastard will live. So he got his ear clipped like right about here, where it was cut a little bit, but to Mike, nothing. Skylar's brain won't shut off at 3 o'clock in the morning. She keeps thinking of ideas for this gambling thing, as well as the car wash stuff, and she wakes up to take a note. Or well, she was already up. She turned the light on to take a note and then turned the light off and tried to go back to sleep. Skylar and Walt go to Gamblers Anonymous meetings, or what, I don't know what it's actually called when you have a gambling problem. You know, alcohol is AA, narcotics is NA. Is there like a GA, Gamblers Anonymous? I don't know, but they were at a meeting for gambling. Skylar tells Walt tonight's the night, no turning back. They'll tell Hank and Marie about his gambling problem that Walt supposedly had. And Skylar tells Walt, chop chop, and Walt says, don't tell me to chop chop. Time for the script and some bullet points, our title of the episode. Walt thinks Marie has already told Hank, and Skylar says Marie has not told Hank. And Walt's not too thrilled about Skylar's bullet points. It's a doozy, as Skylar would say, or Skylar said. And Walt doesn't like saying two terriblies, terribly. Walt wants to know where the part in the bullet points is where I slept with my boss bullet point that Skylar hasn't told them about. And then Skylar says she's going to cry on command, and Walt wanted specifics like how many tears, how long you're going to cry for. So there's a lot of arguing back and forth here, and in the end I think they came to some sort of compromise. Everyone arrives at Hank and Marie's place. Marie tells Hank to show them your rock collection, mineral collection. So yeah, Marie insists on calling them rocks still, and that's really getting Hank pissed off. That's grounds for a divorce, in my opinion. And then while showing off his rock collection, or mineral collection, Hank has Walt put in a DVD in the DVD player. It's a DVD of Gail Bedecker singing with space in the background. And Hank says he's Albuquerque's or ABQ's public enemy number 1. And yeah, so he wanted to show it to Walt because it was hilarious when he put it in. And Walt's really worried about that now because he doesn't know what else Hank has. Like, how did Hank come up with this information? Hank's been bedridden, and all of a sudden he has, like, information on Gail Bedecker and all that. But Walt tells his story to Hank and Marie. He goes with the line of, I'm terribly ashamed of my actions. And Walt excuses himself. He goes upstairs to pretend to go to the bathroom, but he goes into Hank and Marie's bedroom to look in the file for what Hank has. And Hank comes up after, Walt hears Hank come up, and he tells Walt, if you ever need to talk, I'm here. And then Walt says the same for me. Like, hey, if you ever want to run something by me, I'm here to, listen. So then we cut to Hank showing Walt the lab notes book, and Walt has no idea what's in this book that Gail Bedecker has, and he's seen all these formulas and all that. And Hank says he thinks that Gale is his guy that he's been looking for the better part of a year, Heisenberg. Hank goes back to the beginning of the notes and he reads to Walt, to WW, my star, my perfect silence. WW, I wonder who you figure that is. Woodrow, I can't talk tonight for some reason. Woodrow Wilson, Willy Wonka, Walter White. You got me. Walt shows Hank a poem in the lab notes book by Walt Whitman. Hank tells Walt he really wanted to get this guy and slap the handcuffs on him. Spoiler alert, he will get to do that in season 5. Walt asks about this person that killed him, and Hank says that's APD's problem. Apparently, there was an eyewitness. And so Walt, after hearing all this, he goes to Jesse's place, looks in disgust with all the people there that are passed out or using, and he tells Jesse he needs to talk to him now. So Jesse's using a clippers to give individuals a haircut. Jesse's got like a buzz now, which I just gave myself a haircut as well. Didn't use a razor, but used no guard. But Walt unplugs the clippers and says, we have pressing business matters to discuss. Walt mentions they have fingerprints, and Jesse says they're not his. Jesse says if they had something on him, his brother-in-law would come get him so quickly with that hard-on that he has. And Walt wants specifics. Did you knock or ring? And these questions trouble Jesse because this was a bad moment for him. And he doesn't really want to talk about this moment. It's causing him issues where he needs constant noise. So he asks, who wants to make $100? So 2 guys end up throwing Walt out of Jesse's house. Walt goes to talk to Saul Goodman. Saul says the kid's probably right. If they had anything on him, they'd be all over him. Why, asks Saul, wait a minute. I'm not sure what I wrote here, but Walt asks Saul. For some reason I put why. It happens. Why is Walt, or himself, why is he the only one that can behave in a professional manner? Walt, you do stupid things too. Saul mentions he can buy a paddle and disappear, which will come to fruition in Season 5 of Breaking Bad, and almost came to fruition in Season 4. Spoiler alert. This would be an endgame. After that, there's no coming back. And then one of Jesse's guests keep on rambling on and on. This is what this person does. And Jesse wants him to make sure that there's food there for everyone. And Jesse goes upstairs to get him money as he checked his pockets and he didn't have any cash on him. And as the person that was listening to this guy ramble sees this, like Jesse check for money and then go upstairs. And then Walt notices the camera following Jesse around in the lab. Smoke it up, bitches! Jesse throws some small bags of meth for the people staying at his place and takes a female up to his room. But they were just going to play video games. Jesse notices his money is gone and he doesn't really seem to care about it at all. He doesn't freak out like, whatever, don't care, I was giving it away anyway. And then the next morning, Jesse is woken up by Mike downstairs now. Mike invited all of Jesse's guests to leave. And then Mike and Tyrus have the person tied up on the floor that took Jesse's money, and they have his money in the duffel bag. So Jesse smarts off to Mike. Mike says, you're on thin ice, you little shithead. And Jesse says, you ain't going to smoke that dude in there because you went through the trouble of putting a blindfold on. I'm going back to bed. Let yourselves out. Mike goes to talk to Gus after this. Mike says Pigman is becoming a liability. Walter won't like it, but something's got to be done. Walt is irritated cooking by himself and goes to Jesse's place. All the doors are locked, but he's able to get through a side window, but no one's there. Walt sees that Jesse's phone is on the nightstand. So Walt goes back to the lab and looks at the camera and says, where is he? We see Jesse riding in the car with Mike, and that's what ends this episode of Breaking Bad, and my nose is extremely itching for some reason right now. But good stuff, a little slower, but I like where the show is going. I like the direction where the show is going. I'm going to give this episode an 8.6 out of 10, And my character of the episode for the males is going to be Walter White, obviously. He's almost always the character of the episode. And for the females, Skylar. I feel like the whole plan with the gambling stuff, the car wash wasn't a part in this episode, but, her basically trying to think of every little thing. Jesse was good, but he's making dumb decisions right now. And he let his money get stolen and didn't even care. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now, of course, it's your turn. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, or El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing the like button. It does help the channel out quite a bit. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Breaking Bad. Talk to me about the episode and talk to Crazy Coffee Man. He's a Lucifer expert, but he also likes Breaking Bad and Dexter quite a bit. And then let me know what your score of the episode is. Let me know who your character of the episode is, male and female. It's like my nose hairs are bothering me. And then last but certainly not least, so actually, I'm going to put my Better Call Saul series finale review right here, titled Saul Gone. And last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.